Hello, and welcome to the latest episode of Show Me Your Diamond. I am your host, Julia Castelli, and the newest diamond on the podcast is Max. He has a beautiful full name, and I'll let him say it because I can't pronounce it. He's an entrepreneur, he is an investor, and already more than 2 decades he's involved in charities and he helps children and animals. Max, please introduce yourself properly with your beautiful full name as well.
Thank you so much, Julie. It's such an honor to be with you on the podcast. My name is Maximilian Gut-Krenek, and I'm an entrepreneur and investor, as you said. I'm a dad of a 5-year-old, and since more than 20 years, I'm involved in charities to help children and animals in need. So, yeah, it's a commitment, a passionate commitment to leave the world a bit better than we found it. And I think that's the obligation of every human working this earth to, leave the place a bit better than yourself found it one day.
I absolutely agree, and I am very inspired by you. We have a beautiful story. We met on Instagram, correct?
Yes, I know.
How did you find me? Because I believe you reached out, you found me, and what attracted you? Like what energy was there for you to say hi?
I think you made this beautiful podcast with Tessie Anthony that I know, and she's an amazing, inspiring businesswoman. And I was listening to the podcast, and I think I texted you, "What a great podcast!" back then, right?
Oh,
Something like that. And it
oh,
started from there.
amazing. And look at this, what's happening now. You on my podcast because then we befriended each other and we got to know a little bit more about each other. And I only invite people who have very interesting stories and who are inspirational because I believe the world needs more inspiration. The world needs to see people like me and you, not necessarily celebrities and actors, because those people sometimes feel so far ahead that feel unreachable. And that's why I find people next door and people who are successful in their own right, but they are also humble and reachable to share their wisdom. And I know that we also connected and spoke on a beautiful topic of love.
Yes, I wrote a book. It's called The Symphony of Eternal Love. Basically, I think what fuels us all in life and what gives us the drive to go on, whatever happens, is love. Because we all think when we are successful and when everything works, that we're untouchable. And the harsh truth is, we're not. Life can change in a blink of an eye. I witnessed that and I lived through it myself. And what helped me was love and faith. Faith that things might get better, faith in God that there is a higher plan, and the love to life and the love to live. And I think that's the thing. Whenever I talk with people on my projects and we help people, I think that's is a thing that I want people. I want people to remember me for it. I say, listen, whatever is going on in your life, remind yourself that life is beautiful and that there's love. And if there's just a spark of love in your heart, there's you have every reason in life to go on. And it's so true so often, and that's why I wrote a book of short stories and poems. It's to remind people that love is not, a fleeting emotion, and it's a commitment for life. And I think this is you want to be like this with the people you love, with your family, your friends, your spouse. I think that that's most important because let's be honest, there will always be hard times. And my mom, who was a therapist, usually used to say, you don't have to like your loved ones all the time. You just have to love them. And the older I get, the more I understand that. You're not liking yourself all the time. I mean, at least I don't like myself, but the older I get, I manage to love myself through the good and the trying times. And I think that's what makes us, and that's profound to, on the journey of life.
How beautiful. I'll try to remember that. You don't have to like your family all the time or even yourself. You have to just love them. What a
Mhm.
beautiful wisdom in one sentence. Wow.
Because we all feel so guilty for being upset or being impatient and whatever, of course, and that triggers us. And then you just have to remind yourself how much you love your loved ones.
Mm.
No one is perfect. And I think to come to terms with that fact in life, that everything can be beautiful and fall into place and never have to be perfect, that's huge, huge epiphany in life when you get to that point.
Mhm. And it reminds me, recently I was driving past a charity shop and I saw this painting, so to say. It's not really a painting, but it's with a beautiful quote, and I bought it. It says, "Love me when I least deserve it, because this is when I really need it."
Mhm. That's so true.
And
I I lived in London, stayed in London for many decades ago, and worked a bit as a model. And there was this booker that I will always remember because he usually quoted one thing: "If you can't handle me at my worst, you sure as hell don't deserve me at my best." It's a quote, basically, I think, from Marilyn Monroe or someone, but he always said that, and it's so true. It's so
yeah.
true because we all have, our good days and our bad days and our trying days, and everything in between, because we're human and there are all kinds of human emotions in us. But the moment we can always look back on the love that we feel, we're we're very, very far ahead in the game of life. Because whatever happens, we will stand through it and we will walk through it. And there will always be people, reaching out to you because they feel your energy, they feel your frequency, and then things might align again or will align again. That's just my experience.
Mm. And I bought these beautiful words to be a reminder for me, because I'm a single mom and my children are now teenagers. So it's obviously very trying times. And I just wanted to have this reminder: if they trigger me, if I'm upset because they've done a mistake, which is also normal, but sometimes we forget because we want our children to be better than us. We want them to be perfect, knowing we are not perfect. And yeah, that's a reminder for me, because teenagehood is challenging. But yeah, I am striving to feel and give that unconditional love that I never had. I grew up in Eastern Europe. I don't think our parents were ever taught what love is and unconditional, because obviously their parents lived through the war. And yeah, I never experienced unconditional love until I had my dog. I had a Dachshund. Sadly, he's no longer with us, but he taught me unconditional love. Everything else is beautiful, and of course, this is what I want to give now to my children: unconditional love, even when they have made a mistake, and actually not even, but especially then.
Exactly. I mean, the thing is, when my son is 5 now, when he was a 5-year old, they're the most amazing human beings because they show you their world in the world through their eyes. And this is so touching so often. But sometimes they're just wild and there's so much energy. And the energy starts from 7 o'clock in the morning. And if you, they would go up until 10 p.m. And as parents, we get tired, and I always remind myself that, listen, Dad is a bit tired now, but if you would come and cuddle and read a book with me, that would be so nice for Daddy. And then we read, and then you fall asleep. So it's like, but always remind myself. And I grew up with my grandparents most of the time, and they were very kind because they lived through war, and they knew my grandfather was a lawyer as well, but he taught me the most profound lesson that is all about human connection. It's all about the connection you have with humans that will determine your career and that will make or break your path, also in professional life. And whenever I feel that there is no personal connection, I walk away because I know it's not good for me. This is the gut feeling that we have. And I think that was one of the most profoundest lessons I ever learned. And the other thing he told me was, if you have love in war, you will always win, because love will always win. No matter what you do, the right thing and love will always win. Even if it looks bad in the very moment, you will see in the end. And I think that was what brought me through so many challenging moments. I mean, my son is born to surrogacy, and as you know, and When the surrogate was pregnant with my son, my mom had a cerebral bleeding and was in intensive care unit for 3.5 weeks. And I was like, it was a wild thing because it was during COVID and you could not travel. And I was stuck there, and I felt anxious to lose my mom. And also I wanted to be present in the pregnancy of my son. So I felt guilty basically 24/7. And I tried to be there, and I tried to be there for her every day in hospital. And I tried to be present in the pregnancy during all this worldwide pandemic. And I learned with that, I learned so much putting myself back, because before that I was, flying and traveling and partying and whatever. And then I learned, to serve, to really be humble and really go down and really go to those you really love. And I think those hardest times, though I struggled a lot in the beginning with it, they taught me so much. And the moment my mom was then able to walk again with him on the playground, I said, damn, it was so hard, but it all paid off. The moment she was with him in the playground, I said, yeah, that's worth all the sacrifices, everything. And I think the moment you can remind yourself on these things, that it can be tough, and even years might be tough. But as long as you keep going and you keep loving and you keep wishing for the best, you will eventually, get the best. Not even in the outside, because my mom is now back in a wheelchair, and my son says Oma. The German word for grandma is Oma. Is still not quite fit. But the moment they interact with each other and they play with each other, I'm there and I know my why. And with so many of those charity projects we work with, we know that we cannot change the world in a blink of an eye, but we can be, the first input for change. We can drive change. We can drive positive change. And I think that's what we all obliged to do in life. And I think we're there to, do it for other people and do it with other people. And whenever I did this beautiful project with the TVA International Foundation with Theodora Auersberg, and when we've been there in Bulgaria, and people in Panic and Trent, they have been so amazing. And with all their heart, they are committed to those families at SOS Children's Villages. And it's so great to see. And no matter if we can have, the biggest impact now, or just, one small stone to help them build further for those families, we're there. And I think that's what we all have to remind. No matter how big or small the contribution is, sometimes it's huge and sometimes it's small. But no matter what, everyone can contribute to make the lives of others better. And we should always remind ourselves to that.
Beautiful words. I actually need a few seconds even to absorb. Thank you for that beautiful message and for your work. So I wanted to lead you a little bit towards your personal love story. Can you give us some insight in what love personally is for you? And now we're talking about the romantic love, not about that huge, beautiful love that is the source for everything. But let's get a bit juicier because we want
I,
to know a handsome man like you. What's his love life like? And then
okay,
your
I
father.
usually, I
So
usually,
how does that all work? Tell
I,
us.
u- I usually never talk about my private life, and I will give a very glimpse into it.
Glimpse.
I do believe that family is the most important thing in life, and I do believe that we all can lose our spark sometimes, and we all can, take wrong turns. For me, love is to still, believe in the best of someone, and yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy. I'm in love, and I'm sure that love will always find its way, no matter how hard it is in a very moment when things seem more challenging. And I think that's one wisdom that I learned too. And it's also from my grandparents. My grandparents were married for 45 years. My grandfather had a very severe form of cancer, and my grandmother kept him alive for more than 20 years by telling him, it's not bad, and I'm there for you. And it was, I remember when he was basically on his deathbed, and he said, I know that you lied to me for more than 20 years. Thank you, because you gave me the best 20 years of my life. And and she said, yeah, she was always struggling with the fact that she was basically lying to him, because she was a very, very honest person and very truthful. And she said, yeah, I often was, in a conversation with God. And I said, if I would have told him 20 years ago how bad it is, he would have passed within 6 months what the doctors, diagnosed. And she said, no, no, we'll not let him know that it's that bad, because if we not let him know, his mind will believe that he can live. And of course, his mind, his soul lived on. And he was the best granddad. I have so many great memories. I would have never met him if she wouldn't have made the decision of telling him, listen, yeah, it's cancer, but it's not a bad form of cancer. We got this. I said, are you sure? Because it searches all the time. He said, yes, I'm sure. I'm sure it just came up now, but we're good. And he had the best years with that. And I think to learn from those examples, I mean, basically, my whole gene pool is full of that examples, because the most genes you make that you use in life, you make the first 8 years in your life, scientifically proven. And I spent those years with my grandparents. And though my grandfather was very, very sick at those, we didn't even realize, because he was good, because my grandmother told him, listen, yeah, it's cancer, but it's not that bad, and we got this. And for more than 20 years. And then she said, how long can that go on? It's like, it can't go on. It's. And then she said, yeah, I have to make a confession. It was bad all the time, but it's okay now. It's okay now, because you met all your grandchildren. We had a, and then yeah, he finally eventually, and he passed away. But he was 75. He was diagnosed with a severe form of cancer when he was 51. So, and they
Oh,
gave him 6 months. So basically, what we have is the power of our mind. We can make things great when we tell ourselves, there's always a way, there's always a solution. And there's also, it's a decision. It's a decision how you look on a glass, half empty or half full. And when you're taught to look at a glass always half full, and always that there is a solution, then you will find one. There's always, a candle you can light in the darkest night. And also when you go to love, there's always something you can still hold on to not let someone, go into deep dark grounds, but still believe that there is for everyone, a thing where they can go back to a good life. And also, I see that with charities I'm involved with, for children and youth psychotherapy. I was a board member for many, many years. The other board members founded a university, a private university for psychotherapy in Austria. That's also have many branches in Eastern Europe, Sigmund Freud University. And when I look at those successes, by just being there for people and giving them, a solid ground to stand on, that changes so much. And I think that's what we're here for.
with my podcast, I want to change million lives around the world, and the world is very important to me, and I don't want to focus on any one singular area because so many people need help. But more, what they need is just being seen and being heard and feel the love, even from strangers. And I believe the love from strangers is very, very powerful. The frequency of love is the highest frequency on
Absolutely.
earth. And this is where I also choose to live from. So, can you tell us a little bit about, as much as you feel appropriate to share, what is life of a father? Are you considered single father, or is Henry having two dads, or how do you consider your
Oh,
family?
Henry would say he has two dads. Yeah, he would say. But
Oh,
yes, it's just me. He would say he has two dads and a belly mommy. But yeah,
a
it's just
belly
me at the moment
mommy.
with him. Yeah. So
Oh my
it's
God, this is so beautiful. Two dads and a belly mommy. Oh, and how do you feel the people around you? Are they embracing your family that is a bit different from the traditional family? or are they embracing it, or do you feel somehow, somewhere not included?
Oh, it's always a big thing. I mean, when you're successful and when you live a life that's successful, people might judge you by the cover. It's always like people judge books by cover and never, turn a page. Because if people meet me or meet us, I'm the one in the kitchen making pasta, and barefoot in Italy. So basically, there's nothing. It might look glamorous in the outside when we host events and we do some galas and we do whatever art events, but at the end of the day, I'm Max, and I'm very happy to be the one I am, and to walk the dogs and get the kid to kindergarten and stuff. But yes, I do feel that there is certain judgment. And also regarding surrogacy, people think that it would be easier to adopt children, which I don't see why I shouldn't have a son that's genetically mine. So, or children in general, not just a son. It's whatever. But we all have the right to have children that are genetically ours. And laws in Europe will eventually change. I think we're there. But Henry's born in the U.S., of course. But yes, I do feel that, and it can be sometimes wild. There, preconceptions of people how we would live or how life would look like, and the truth is, it's completely different. The truth is, we're just hardworking people that are actually quite conservative. I would say my son goes to church every week. We pray before we go to bed. So basically, I cook there all the family meals. One meal a day is together. I don't know how you feel about that, but I think with a family, one meal has to be shared because you have to have a conversation on the table to have that with other people and with your family, to have an update on how they feel, what's important in the day, what were their challenges, how do they feel, do they need support somewhere, or just want to share their stories of, today I played this and that with my friend there and there, and it was like that. So I think that's very important. So we're a non-traditional, very traditional family, and I think that's what's always to keep in mind. But of course, people start then asking questions about it, which is okay as long as it doesn't go into blue. If you go way way beyond everything, it's especially when my son is present, it's quite weird, and we have many of those situations, and it's a part of our lives, and we're living and we're learning, and we're learning to answer politely also to questions that are quite unpolite, and I think that's fair, and it's fair enough to live that life. But on the other hand, I have to say that so many people are totally embracing and just ask how. And I think to be inspirational for so many others that wish to have a family, that dream of having this life. That's why I choose to, sometimes give interviews about that. When Henry was born, I talked about surrogacy and the whole process. And I on social media, because I got interviewed by men having babies and surrogacy agency and stuff. And I said, okay, let's share the story because it might help someone who just loses all the hope that this is possible. And I have a very, very funny story about that. I then went to the bakery next to our apartment, and the guy standing there said, I read the story, and that gives me hope that one day I will have a family. And I didn't even know him. It was like he was just selling, croissants there. It was like, I'm so happy for you. And then it kind of hit me that probably there's so many people out there who don't even speak to me or address me or write to us, but still we are the beacon of hope when things are hard for them. And also when I had those phases of where I was struggling with what I'm doing, I was always looking to other people, and they really inspired me. And it's an honor for me that some people see my life story inspirational and I can help them with them. with my own life story. I think that's an honor, and this is a great honor if you can contribute to give someone hope. I think that's very important.
And that's why I wanted to touch on this subject because we had a few beautiful, deep conversations. It's just like we are brother and sister from another life because I feel you and I find your story inspirational. And that's why I wanted you to share it because you will inspire someone to be brave and to dream and to be themselves. Because who says what's right and what's wrong and how it's supposed to be, right?
It's actually all about love. It's you can fall in love with whoever. It's just it. I mean, basically, we all know that there is no sexual orientation. If we would look into that, we would know that there's just love and preferences. I'm not a fan of saying the word preference when it comes to love because that really downgrades it. But love is love, and there have been amazing women in my life that I cherish the time with. And there's Henry's second dad that I will always cherish in my heart. The times, so it's there is so much that I mean, it's a huge spectrum, and we should not limit ourselves to that. And the funny thing is, whenever I talk then to people that consider themselves queer or whatever, and I say, listen, this is such a small part of your own personality. Who are you? What are your dreams? What are your goals? And usually you can end that with the word not who do you love, but how do you love? Because it's all about how you love. And you should love from with your wholeheartedly, from the bottom of your heart. You should feel it in your whole body. Then that's love. Everything else is maybe a desire, a wish, or whatever, or something we hope that other people could be, but they will never be. I think the love is just a feeling that's there that demands nothing in return. And I think that's what we always should be aware of. When you love someone because you want someone and there's love, but there's you want nothing in return. You just want this love to flourish at one point. But uh, this is love, and I think that's the essence of it.
Well, this love episode is kindly sponsored by yourhealingwater.com, this beautiful alkaline living water that I drink. Cheers.
Yes, I have a non-alcoholic. I think it's an iced tea cocktail that they just brought me. It's delicious, by the way. Mm.
Amazing. And Max, where are you? It looks so beautiful behind you.
It's the cigar lounge. The thing is, I've been at the Four Seasons now for a business trip in Hamburg. But the thing is, there is a week, I forgot what the week is all about. But the thing is, there was not one quiet spot in the whole hotel. I was like, can you tell me where to go? Because it was nice, but I didn't hear my own word and I didn't hear you. So there was no chance to make any kind of an interview and any conversation, because if we would have made it there, it would have ended up like no one would have listened to it because all the sounds in the background. But now it's a cigar lounge. It smells actually quite good. I'm absolutely not smoking. It smells actually good, and it's
And
nice.
you
And they
have
would
beautiful art behind you.
yes, it's this
It's a
one
better
picture.
spot than the previous one. Max, I love asking my diamonds a few questions, and we'll finish with my crown question. But before that, what is money for you?
Energy.
What is success for you?
To be able to live a life according to my standards and dreams, and to not have to prove anything to anyone.
And what is happiness?
The feeling in the morning when I get up and there's a cup of coffee in the kitchen, and someone is coming down like, daddy, daddy, I love you, and family, basically, or a calm morning on the terrace. This is happiness.
Hmm. And my crown question, Max, show me your diamond.
Unconditional love. I think what really makes me and what really shaped me, like, a faceted diamond, is love. And
Mm.
love has so many facets like a diamond. It's brilliantly cut. And I think that's what makes my diamond. And I think it makes so many diamonds. I mean, I see the same in you. So basically, the love and always make the decision to love is what all binds us, right?
Yes, yes, and yes. Stay tuned because Max and I are discussing incredible projects together. One of them is commercial, but still to help people in the health industry, in the health area. And because we need the money then to gift money and give money to charities. The second project we're discussing, joining forces, is one of the charity projects that Max is involved with. Stay tuned. I know I'll invite Max again. And Max, I will put the links that are important to you at the description of the podcast. But
Mhm.
you're welcome to say now with few words, how do people find you? And then I'll also drop the link so people can find you because I feel fortunate to meet incredible people like you, and I'm happy to share them with the world.
Thank you so much. It's the real Max MG on Instagram and Maximilian Gut-Krenek on LinkedIn. And
And
basically, that's all them.
yeah, we'll make sure the links are there. Anything else you would like to say before we conclude? Maybe a word of encouragement to people who may not feel the love or may not feel the light, may not see the light at this particular moment?
To keep always hoping, no matter how small the hope is, to always keep fostering this sort of hope in a heart, and then take it from there.
Hope. Thank you, Max. I really enjoyed having you. Thank you for sharing the beautiful wisdom of not only yours, but also your mother's, your grandmother's, and giving us a glimpse into that beautiful, non-traditional, very traditional family of yours.
I think we all the people who made us and who raised us, and that's what, as parents, also, if you're not parent and just parental figures in the life of others, we have to be very aware that what we say, what we do, is shaping the life of the next generations to come. And I think that that's most important. Thank you so much for having me. It was an honor, and I'm looking forward to meet you again and to work with you. It will be great, I'm absolutely sure.
I can't wait. And thank you so much for coming to my podcast and making it shine bright like a diamond.
Thank you
Bye
so
bye.
much. Have a great day. Bye.
You too. Bye bye.